thank you all very much. I enjoy talking about this topic because recently some of my latest challenges were working for New York Life. New York Life is a financial company. But I want to say this, I'm not here to sell anything. No, this is not the purpose of it. I know Ron's wife is concerned about that. That is not the point.
Karl.
That's right, don't buy anything. But the purpose is just to explain the quality elements of what I call financial planning. Because I think there are... Oh, okay, thank you. So, I think there are, what I call big Q and little q. And as we know, in the world of quality, let's see how this works here. What's the space bar? Ah, thank you. So, there's two Q's or two qualities. The big Q is typically associated with companies. And everything you read about, Duran and so on, quality always relates to corporate quality. Well, I think there's a quality in finance related to the person, as I call the small q. And so I had to come up with a definition for it, and I put that here. This is my definition, nothing out of a textbook. I say small q for quality is application of processes and methods to achieve a targeted financial retirement while minimizing risk to the portfolio or your estate and allowing for a sufficient lifestyle along the way. Because there's several key elements. You want, first of all, a process. So that quality. You got to have a target in mind. You have to have an end in mind. What do you want when you retire, and when are you going to retire? And you don't want it to be excessively risky, because you want to have money there, when you need it. But you also want to live life. You don't want to put all of your money into long-term investments. So I think that kind of fits the idea of a Q in my mind. So this is the basic process that I see. Is first of all, you've got to have a plan. And typically it's a good idea to write it down. Sometimes people hire an estate planner to help them, but you've got to write down what your objectives are. And then you have to save. That's probably very important. A lot of people forget to do that. And you've got to save early. And that's a key too. As earlier is better. And you have to believe in the end that there's a virtuous cycle of saving and continuous growth. And I'll show you why that it actually works. And then you also have to believe in the power of compounding. I have a quote later on about that. And then you want to minimize risk along the way. There's something that's called the Markowitz efficient frontier. A lot of people have not heard of that, but it's a management tool that financial companies use. They may not advertise it, and of course, companies have gotten a lot more sophisticated with programs and so on to do these things for them. But I thought I would show that just very briefly, because that's the basic concept in which you can manage your estate. And your estate, by the way, is a combination of your liabilities and your assets. That's basically what an estate is. And then periodically you have to rebalance this whole estate, because things are not static, as we know. Things change and you have to be on your toes. So that's basically the layout. And I'll just go into each of those a little bit. So you have to have the end in mind. And like I said, you write down the goals, have an estate plan, have a list of your liabilities and assets, and I don't know if you all are familiar with anybody belong to PBS or watch any of their shows? So there's a fellow on there who's given a talk periodically. Of course, he wants you to contribute to the show, and then he'll send you some books. Well, his specialty is IRAs. And so his name is Ed Slott, for example. And so he says, you need 5 essential documents in your plan. You've got to have a will and a trust, or a trust. You need a durable power of attorney, which is a legal document that allows individuals that you appoint to make medical or health care decisions for you. You need a health care proxy, you need a living will, and a medical release. This is what he says. You need those 5 key documents. So in your planning, you might think about that. Everybody doesn't have those. And we mentioned time. Now remember Don's presentation, was it two months ago or a month ago, in which he pointed out in his calculation related to a healthcare website, which showed the greatest factor of interest and greatest influence is your youth. And so sure enough, as you can imagine, the younger the person is, the better it is for you to invest and to save. And this chart will show you that if you start with $1,000 at 10% tax deferred, like a Roth IRA, that's tax free, but like an IRA or a 401k, it will grow to about $45,000 in 40 years if you have a 10% rate of return. There's a rule of thumb you can use, financiers use it. It's called the rule of 72. So if you take your pot of money, or whatever it is, and you estimate what the rate of return is, let's say it's 7%. So 7% into 72 will give you about 10 years to double your money. So, and that kind of fits this little chart because you can see about 10 years, $2,500, well, that's at 10%. So if you're assuming, let's see, 72 would be about 7 years when you double it. So it's a little bit more than that, a little bit less than that. So what I wanted to show you to start things off, did anybody see Inside Animal Minds on PBS recently? Well, let me just show you how. It's very interesting. I'm just going to show you some of it as it relates to our topic.
But we don't usually think of them as incredibly bright. After all, isn't bird brain the very essence of sleep? But now, scientists are discovering bird brain stupidity that put most other animals to shame. No sticks with their beaks, even if they've never seen another crow do it. But was 007 acting just on instinct when he solved the 8-stage problem?
This bird solved the problem.
One of the world's leading experts on corvids is convinced that it's something more.
The behaviour of the new Caledonian crow when it's solving one of these problems is far more complex than anything that would be solved by an instinctive mechanism.
So if it isn't pure instinct, what is it? Scientists disagree about what exactly is going on in the mind of a crow like 007 or a raven like Brand when they're solving problems. Some researchers think the animals are instinctive tool users and can be conditioned by training to use them in ways that just appear clever.
Now this bird is getting a piece of food out of the
Others
bottle.
believe that animals show real smarts when they tackle new
The bird has figured out
that
how
they've never seen.
it gets water in the bottle, it shakes it around,
To
and then the
demonstrate
food
this,
comes out.
we set up a little competition to solve another
So they're
puzzle
going to do a
between Lloyd Buck's raven Brand and an
contest.
animal a lot of people think of as pretty smart. A dog. Actually, 2 dogs. French poodles named Itchy and Scratchy. It's a specially designed puzzle box. Inside the glue ball, there's a tasty snack that each contestant likes to eat. Rat meat for Bran, a doggy treat for Itchy and Scratchy. The challenge is to remove the blue ball from the 2 plastic boxes. First, the contenders have the chance to familiarize themselves with parts of the puzzle box. As usual, Lloyd leaves Brand to investigate on his own.
Now he's had that bird since he was 10 days old.
The dogs are introduced to the components by their owner. The outer box has a hinged door that can be opened by pulling on a pink ball tied to the door with a string. Another ball and string can then be used to pull out the inner box. Then a third ball and string must be pulled to remove the lid, freeing the blue ball, which holds the tree. And now, the moment has come. The animals are about to face the test for the first time. This is dog versus ring.
Itchy. Solve this. Solve that. I'll be back.
Bran gets the tasty treat.
Itchy. Solve this.
The dogs realize there's a problem there to
They're
solve,
clueless.
despite his guidance.
Why isn't the animal can solve those problems?
Kevin
Why
will solve
would
it tonight, but he won't.
Now I'm gonna, that's right. Now I'm gonna just jump ahead because it relates to our topic. Okay, where this professor